First of all, good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I would like to express my gratitude. I'm John Murillo, Chief Dealing Officer at B2Broker. B2Broker is a liquidity and technology provider. I've been in this industry for over 20 years. Therefore, I believe today's discussion might be something of interest to many of you, to your business, in an effort to diversify your operation. What I have to share today is something sometimes people overlook in the current environment. You know, high interest rates, low volatility. You need new ideas, you need creativity, you need engagement. So in what we do for a living, I will start by explaining an asset class that has gained a lot of momentum over the course of the last couple of years. In particular by retail traders, and an asset that is overlooked because lack of awareness, not many providers are behind the scenes, and we have been very successful ever since we made the introduction. B2Broker, as one of our pillars, is liquidity provision. We're in constant search for new asset classes to your end users. Now, many of you know the NDF as a spot contract, traditional NDF, non-deliverable forward, which is effectively two parties take the opposite trade at a current rate and it settles within T plus 30 typically, depending which contract you're trading. Now, the game changer now in this particular asset class is that you are effectively, if we go back in the days, let's say back in the 90s, we had the ability to see a lot of momentum because it was used as a hedging tool by corporates, by institutions who had an operation overseas, yet they needed to hedge risk, at least on a principal basis. So now the NDF, the way we have structured it, okay, I will explain in a minute how we position the product. Right now, I just want to talk briefly on what's the concept that we all heard of or have seen over the years. I always talk about the NDF as a contract that it has the potential to attract a great deal of young traders, young engagement, especially in specific regions of the world where there are capital controls, for example. There is a great deal of what I would consider a new way to speculate. We're all used to FX. We're all used to, precious metals, commodities, equity indices. But when you can offer a product to your client base that is aligned with that region, there's a whole new engagement, especially in the broker-dealer community, which is many of you are facilitating those services to your traders. Today, for example, I always tell my partners, guys, why should a broker-dealer introduce an NDF? And it's in a very simplistic way. You can see it here. You get an immediate target audience, which means higher deposits, most likely, greater diversification of clientele from regions that you will never, ever be able to reach out. There is this element, especially in the B2B space, this is what we cater to, that brokers will find a very interesting crowd out there that if you don't have this asset class, you will never be able to reach. They will never consider you as an alternative because there's not that much of an engagement. Offering a local currency is a very interesting approach. And it's a way to diversify and gain a competitive edge against your peers. As simple as offering an NDF today as a CFD though, which is what I have constructed over the years, today we can say it's a product that is bringing a very interesting result to a lot of brokers in the industry. Of course, the way it's structured is a little different than the traditional FX because in some of these currencies, due to volatility, you have the element of higher margin requirement. And if your team is managing risk, it's something you got to take into consideration. In today's era where there's low volume going through most businesses out there, this is a diversification tool. This is a way to reach an audience. I say this 100 times, but it is what I've seen over the last 12 months. The more brokers offer something different than the rest of the guys in the street, the most likely or more likely you will be in a position to succeed. So again, it's about traders' engagement with very basic tool. Our company over the years has done a lot of R&D. The reason being, we firmly believe we gotta follow trends. We need to stay in the front of our competitors. In addition, add value to all these institutions we serve today. And the only way to do that is if we have a team that specializes on finding the next the next product. So we've been doing this for several years already, our company, and I'll come to that timeline in a second. We started the business in 2014, and we realized that being a technology provider and liquidity provider is not enough. What can I do to enhance my commercial offer? So we started building pretty sophisticated infrastructure to be able to cater to the mass audience in the broker-dealer space, fund management, prop trading firms, proprietary firms, just to make sure, because there's a new term out there today that doesn't align with us. And we continue to evolve the business by conducting that R&D, by being the first, after a year of research, introducing the first crypto CFD in this entire industry. This is long ago, okay? Today, we have gained years of experience. Execution today is no longer what it used to be 7 years ago. The world has changed, and as I continue, you will see in a second. So the first commercial offer on crypto CFD started at about 50% margin requirement. This was very steep for a lot of broker dealers. It was a very conservative approach back then, but the industry had not matured. We feel that we have an edge because all these years we continue to research and enhance our trading conditions so that more traders and actual broker dealers get access to an institutional offer. At the same time, I spent a lot of time analyzing what is the best aggregation model that we can put in place so we can distribute liquidity in the best way possible to our end user. I repeat, my end user is always the B2B space. Naturally, as you all know, crypto became a phenomena. In 2020, we consolidated as probably the market leader. Over 150 crypto pairs we were able to introduce. Back in 2021, over 1,000 financial instruments. And naturally, the more business you do in this industry, the more leverage you have to talk to your PB or counterparty. I think one of the latest additions I've done for this year is NDFs, and it has just skyrocketed from day one. We believe in this product as a diversification tool. What this means, research, R&D, what does it mean, that experience? Is that we have gone through a great deal of expertise and experiences, because it's experiences that you go through that make you who you are today. So we have, for example, we have faced cases where our clients are facing a single LP for their relationship because they are the early stages. So it's at that time when you realize that these guys have a high risk point of failure because they rely on one specific architecture. There's a single connectivity point, which is always a high risk in any business, And if there's no aggregation, most likely the spread compression element is not there. It's just, unless you get a bank to price you, it is unlikely. And back in the days, you may all remember, everyone used to rely on a single trading GUI as part of your business model. Today, all that has changed. That's where guys like us have come in place. We aggregate liquidity from different venues. We provide 8 asset classes through one single margin account. This is something that very few have been able to do over the years. And most importantly, the distribution venues that you utilize dictate the level of expertise that business has. Guys like us, we like to partner with the best of the best in the industry. I'm a firm believer today that you must have a multi-platform solution in place. If you don't, you start to lose market share. That loyalty that you're seeking from your client is just simply not going to be there. I am in the business 23 years today, so I've been through a few experiences, I guess, by now. All this that we've done, for example, businesses like ours, ultimately deliver you the best the market has to offer. You have a multi-asset component, you have a multi-distribution element to it, and you get some of the best pricing in the market, so you can monetize, so you can improve that client legacy, that client commitment, as I call it. The longer you can keep a client with yourself, the more value in the long term you get. So, our company, over all these years, at the end of the day, what we've been trying to achieve is to create a true multi-asset solution. Businesses like ours have dedicated our entire time into creating trading conditions that are exceptional, not just FX and metals that everyone can get access to, but the reliability behind primarily comes from the sophistication of your trading infrastructure. It's who you're using behind the scenes. For example, hosting providers. A lot of businesses, they don't believe in that high-end expense because it is considerable. But we are firm believers in, for example, using the services of BIX, AWS, among many others in this particular industry. So the more you get to experience all these different businesses experience, let me rephrase that. The more you get to try out different services, the better you are with the allocation of your resources. Over the years, what do we look for when you want to do business with someone? And the answer is very simple. You got to make sure that that partner has the scalability to host that infrastructure correctly. Who is their tech stack? Who are they really using? Because if they like to save on cost, it's going to come at your expense one way or another. Tech is already complicated enough. Imagine if you reduce costs and you don't have reliable partners. I always like to say to everyone, especially in financial markets, now it's the game of 24/7. It's no longer 24/5 like many years ago. We like to provide language, 15 plus languages, for example, at the moment, with dedicated relationship managers. We want to talk to you in your native language, because when you have a challenge, it's much easier to talk to someone in your native language rather than trying to translate or figure out what the other side is doing. If you need to express yourself, having that partner who can understand you immediately can be a game changer, especially in the capital markets. So make sure that when you go and seek for that liquidity venue, when you go seek for that business partner, they can tick these boxes for you. Companies like ours, we've been building over the years different jurisdictions that you can face my business through. So we're very flexible no matter where you're located. Levels of expertise. I can't emphasize the importance. I think back in the days when I was much younger, I didn't realize the importance of expertise. Today, when you have a tough time, whatever may take place at any given moment, is that expertise of your team and yourself who will make the difference, who will, there's going to be challenges no matter where you go. And I agree with that. I know it's tough. It's a tough industry. But if you get to have a partner who truly understands what they do, the chances of success are going to be far greater. And I think this is something you must take into account when choosing that future LP relationship, when considering who you're going to add as a liquidity member in your team. Because at the end of the day, relationships is about teams. It's about two businesses finding each other a common ground. I would like to say, I'm running out of time, unfortunately, but this is who we are. This is a company that has been in the building over the last several years. We have achieved a great deal of solutions from the tech side to liquidity provision to other asset classes. It's been a very interesting journey over time with offices around the world. So we have a global presence, and some of us are headquartered here in Dubai. The most important component in any operation is experience, diversification. Not all businesses can deliver that. I'm one of many, but I feel very confident that I can serve any of your business needs if and when that time arises. Unfortunately, there's not much time remaining. Therefore, I would like to thank you all for joining me for these last few minutes. And if there's anybody who wishes to have a one-on-one discussion, feel free to stop at our booth. Again, we are B2 Broker, and we're here to serve any of your business needs. Thank you. Have a nice day.